Super Slowway invited me to come and work with a group called In Situ in Briarfield. And of course, I had no idea where Briarfield was, but I was good friends with Laurie Peake, the director of Super Slowway, and very excited about the opportunity to work with her, particularly when she started talking about the old mill and the fact that it was of such significance to this community.
It's a huge iconic mill which is in the centre of the town on the canal. It was kind of where Briarfield as a place was kind of grown around that mill. When the firm at the time, Smith & Nephews, closed, that had a massive impact on this town.
That was really the only space where the significant Asian heritage community here mingled with the Indigenous white community. It was a space where those two cultures came together. So when it closed, that was lost. And there are very few places here now in the area where those two communities come together. So Suzanne was really compelled by that notion of this empty mill. It's the kind of, has the ghosts of a community within it, and the two communities that are living parallel lives to an extent, and how those things could be brought back together.
Suzanne's projects are about having conversations with people about what is important in their community, what are the challenges that they're facing those communities. And we spent a long time over various different means having larger community dinners for people, exploring what are the things that we'd like to ask our communities and each other.
Laurie, the director of Super Slowway, came to one of our Sufi chanting events, which is in the Briarfield Community Centre. And she kind of just branded this idea that would you be interested in being involved in an arts-based project which is looking at capturing sound from various traditions.
Suzanne came to a shape note singing where I lived and really liked that, so she hooked me into coming here and using music, the shape note hymnody and the Sufi chant as a way of bridging cultures.
The idea of the community dinners, exploring these forms of vocalisation, the commonalities between people, you know, using that point as a safe space to kind of come and talk together became really important.
Allahu, 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 Allahu.
So far, la fa la, so far, la so.
We have artists, we have singers, we have non-singers, we have businessmen, we have people from different backgrounds, everyone coming together. The reason for this is it's a one community project.
Really enjoyed it. It wasn't what I expected it to be. There was a real good mixture of music, and I'm intrigued to see how it's going to fit in with the wider programme and the end event as well.
Everybody's out here and they're all talking, communicating and connecting with each other. It's fantastic.
We've had maybe 5 community gatherings within which we had the focus on shape note and Sufi zikr, the Briarfield Mill, and we explored some formats in terms of how would we get people talking. We arranged it that people came along, were sat in mixed groups, different faith, racial backgrounds, and then we gave each group a question.
It's just that perception. What is your perception of integration? Mine's going to be different to yours. I think we are integrating already.
And we found the model that we're using to be successful in terms of getting the questions from the people rather than us assuming this is what people want to discuss, and then creating a safe environment for them to come and discuss them.
Over several weeks, we've been developing a film, but at every step of the way, we've allowed the community to participate, whether they're thinking and reflecting with us about the history of this region, or whether they're participating in a conversation at a dinner. In this case, for 3 days, we've opened the mills. We've got tours, we've got interviews that continue, we've got setup of film, setup of lights, we've got practice, rehearsals. So we've opened up these free days, in essence, as the major part of the performance. And so you'll see a weaving through until the 600 people at the banquet and their conversations, until that sort of capstones this 3 days.
We've been filming interviews with past mill workers and residents of Briarfield,
Suzanne thought about the interviews in terms of giving the project a context. I think she wanted to tell the social context through people's lives and stories and sense of belonging to the place.
We didn't want it just to turn into a talk about old times in the mill. We wanted to think more about the changing circumstances in the area, going from the time when the mill was thriving and it was this really central presence in the community, the time where it closed down and what the consequences of that have been socially, politically, economically.
A major industry in your town helps to bond the community. The shops were here, the town was vibrant.
There's a number of people that are still alive that worked in the mills, as well as families of people that worked in the mills. And so we hosted a mill workers reunion tea at the mill. We had a fantastic turnout of people from all ages, from all backgrounds, coming together to kind of meet each other again, relive some of the memories of what it was like working in the mill.
I came here in 1962 from Pakistan, and it was my first job here.
I was born here in Briarfield, and it was just such a bustling part of the community that even though you didn't really take that much notice of it, it was there, and we were all a part of it. We had family and friends and relatives that all worked here.
It's good listening to all people's, memories, etc.,
And that's my wage, 24 years since. That's a day.
So a day's wage was £38.96 24 years ago.
It's a good experience here. I'm proud to be here, and I wish good luck for the future.
As we head into the final weekend, we have an installation of all the mill worker and mill worker family films. So we've got 50 films that are being shared on these huge monitors on these beautiful columns in the space. And it's a chance for people to come in and experience the behind the scenes of making a film of the performances. Briarfield Mill is being redeveloped. It's a building site. We've had masses of cleaners in. Roof has been scraped. Lighting is being installed. We've got hundreds of chairs and tables. We've got hourly tours where people can come have a choreographed tour of the mill where they'll experience the behind the scenes footage. They'll get some history of the place. They'll get a unique performance by one of the people that are working with us. So we've got Jennifer Reid, who does mill ballads. We have Ron Penn from Kentucky, who's been working with us around shape note, and also Husnain, a local singer from one of the mosques, who's got a beautiful voice. The tour, they will get to experience the performance in one of the mill rooms.
It's something very special to me, this project, because I am the product of the mill in which we are going to be performing in. It is because of that mill that my ancestors came to this country, and I am then obviously born and bred here. I practice this art, and it's a fantastic opportunity for me to come back and give something back to the community.
We started off by giving them history of the mill and then taking them through to showing them artefacts of the mill and certain aspects of the building, what it was used for. And then we also took them through a part of the mill where we showed them how it's going to look like in the future.
A lot of people like the message that's been given out from the project in terms of community engagement, involvement. The connection from the mill from when times were different to what they were now. Everyone back in then days got on, and it was that one place, that one common ground that everyone had, where it was just a place to meet and then sort of integrate. It's just been a really, really beautiful experience.
Tonight is the Shape Note singers are arriving and walk over to the mill, which will be an experience because none of them have been in there yet. And to hear what it sounds like when you'd go, ah, and instead of it dying immediately the way it does in this room, it goes, ah, 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 for almost 5-6 seconds. So one voice sounds like the multitude of the heavenly choirs. Then we come back here to the town hall, eat a meal together, because the other thing that holds community together is the shared feast. And the Sufi group will come and join us as well afterwards, so we'll have that opportunity to get to know them as a community.
And on Saturday, we have a day of filming this experience. So in the morning we've got Shape Note singing, so we've got a demonstration being filmed at 2 different angles, and then there's a chance then for any audience members to then take part, because it's about communal singing, it's not a performance in the sense of a choir. And then the same in the afternoon, we'll repeat that with the zikr chanting, so it will be a demonstration of chanting being filmed at 2 shots, and then a chance for people to take part. And then there's going to be an exciting point where we're going to try and fuse those 2 forms together as that kind of moment of cohesion.
Being in a building this big and cold is incredible, but when the music kind of starts, it almost warms up the building in some way. The sounds kind of bounce off the walls, and just being in a space like this where it's really derelict and vast, but with lots of different people and community here, it's just an incredibly special experience to be part of.
I think any chance to sing is a good chance, but I like the idea of being part of something where there's different cultures and it's a bit different, it's a different space that you're in.
It is just such an amazing space, and just as you're walking in, you can hear the echoes, you can just hear the space. It's so exciting to sort of be somewhere like this. And that thing that was happening here where we stopped singing and you just hear the note hanging in the air. You don't normally get that. It's so stripped down and wild, and that feels as if it gets something out of the essence of the music.
Using music as a way of building community is something that's, I think, inherent in Sacred Harp and it seems in the Sufi chanting as well.
A little bit apprehensive because of the derelict building outside, but as soon as I walked in and then we heard the singing, it was just absolutely amazing. It blew me away. The boys are really a little bit nervous, I think, but they're also really excited about being involved because it's nice to let other people hear the melodies that they bring to the team.
I've never been in the mills before. My father used to work in the mills, although not this one. But I live very, very local to the mill, literally less than a 5-minute walk away. It's amazing how the sound fills the space. When you're in the middle and you're in the circle, you're one voice. You don't hear anything else but that one voice. You don't even hear your own voice. I think that's accentuated by the fact that there's an echo.
The fact that there's different communities here sat together singing songs, getting connected with other faiths, which we have been doing through our Free Spiritual Centre projects, but this is on a bigger scale and it's exciting.
It's bleak and empty and cold now, but this would have been a hub of activity, a few years ago, and so to make it alive again, quite exciting.
Really exciting, but at the same time quite nerve-wracking, so it was quite a relief today to be the audience participation part, but really enjoyed it. Done a bit of the chanting as well today, and in the fusion part was really interesting because you just got the different sounds together and the echoes within the mill. It just took you into a different place really.
And what's only really clicked into place for myself and a lot of people is all the language that's shifted in terms of the notion of a performance, so calling it a set, having cues. Even though they might be doing things that they've done before, they're just doing it in a very different way at a different scale with new language that frames it within an artwork that Suzanne is famed for.
As a sound artist, I'm interested in these kind of installations and noise and music in big spaces. But from my point of view, it's been more about community engagement, both as a practitioner but also as a member of the community.
Over time, we've been collecting questions from people in the community about what is that key question that you've always wanted to ask about either, another culture or something around an issue that we're facing within our communities. What is that question?
The first conversation is very light and soft in the sense that it's focusing on commonalities. So we've asked families to bring with them one item from home that represents their family life.
We've had really nice company on our table because we had a young Asian lady with her children, and they were showing us the photos from their family album, telling us all about the family.
Spaces like this are a place where people can just be themselves, and it's just a chance to educate people around different cultures and backgrounds. I think it's amazing.
We got to know a bit about each person, about their background, about their feelings, about where they've come from, about what Pendle actually means to them, and I think that was quite important to see, and different generations had different perspectives on the same community that we all live in.
I hope there's a lot more events in the future as well. It brings people together, and I think that's what we need to do in today's climate.
And then during the main course, to be a bit more kind of an in-depth conversation, there'll be two pressing questions that they'll have in an envelope on their table. And those questions again will be along the lines of why is there a perception that people from different racial backgrounds don't get along with each other? What can we do about it?
I thought it was really lovely, a coming together of community, and I think we should have more of that. The colour and the space and the lights and the reflection was lovely, but I have been in here before when it was actually a mill when I was a little girl, so it was kind of a bit poignant coming and looking, because my mum and dad used to be weavers here.
To see how such a building like this has come into use and has brought a community together, which was really good.
It was amazing how that empty space was filled with everybody just having one purpose, and that was to integrate with one another, being a little bit out of your comfort zones. But all of a sudden, this space where we've never ever been before, all of a sudden was a place that we owned and we were part of. I think it definitely enhances and improves social integration with people who wouldn't generally mix with each other. They wouldn't necessarily take the time out to spend times with people from other cultural backgrounds. And I think from an integration point of view, and to break them barriers, language aside, we need to break all the other social barriers as well.
The artistry in social practice is being able to be somewhat of a community developer while you are also an aesthetic producer. So the dilemma in this kind of work is negotiating between what the community wants and needs in terms of an aesthetic production and being able to identify places where a true contribution can be made. But it's looking very specifically at what organizations in this area can have their capacity enhanced through the production of the work. What individuals can learn to do things they didn't know how to do before.
This is not the end point. This project, this is the final part, and Suzanne will go back to the US to kind of create her film from all the work. But as a community and as organisations within that community, we can take some of that forward and harness this energy that we've developed over the last 12 to 18 months. In situ, I've been embedded in this place as an arts organisation for nearly 5 years, and we've slowly built up this local presence. We've got some very strong community links with individuals as well as organisations. We've really built on the partnerships we already have, but actually those partnerships have suddenly really come into play and feel really strong. The scale of this, the ambition of this has really brought us together in a way that none of us have experienced, and none of us really want to let that go now.
I've learned a lot about how people are with one another in various communities in various parts of the world, and how you can heal a fractured society. And it gives me hope. It doesn't need to be about politicians and large-scale elections. It's something that people can change one at a time in a community, and I've seen it happen here.
As a community worker, it's been enriching to see that we've found something new and fresh when we think about community cohesion work. Community work, I'm quite interested to see what happens after tomorrow in terms of how people continue to engage with each other and engage with the issues that we have within Pendle. So it's all about making Pendle a stronger place. And this project is sowing the seeds for that continuation.